Hey guys, how's it going? I know I haven't uploaded in a few months and I feel super bad about it, but that's because I've been working on starting to get back into making actual artwork again after more than a year of not producing anything. I'm still going to be making pigment videos though, with a sulfur one coming out in the next few days. Now that little update is done, let's get into the actual video. This little channel just hit 1,000 subscribers this week, which is a pretty neat milestone, so I thought it would be cool to do a little piece about it. It's a hybrid between a drawing, painting, and engraving. I wanted to use an oil pastel scratching method to do this because it's just so much fun and I'm pretty familiar with it since I've used it a couple of times. It has to be done on a rigid support, which is why I chose a wooden canvas, which I primed with matte acrylic house paint base. I then wanted to create a border within the area, so I measured it, then I put it through a golden ratio calculator to get the perfect border width. So since I'm still easing into making work again, I wanted to do something intuitive, repetitive, and abstract where I don't have to make too many decisions. 1,000 lines for 1,000 subs, although very literal, felt like a really good idea. My plan is simple: place lines wherever they feel right till it looks really good. I wanted something that was related to water or malachite, so I went for a variation of greenish blues and cyans. I then covered the entire inner area with the pastels, which was progressively very punishing on my hands since I really had to work it in there and had to make sure that no wood was coming through. The idea is that once the oil pastel is on, I will cover it with a mix of acrylic paint and soap. When that dries, the paint will have the ability to be peeled off the surface like a sticker, revealing the oil pastel underneath. It'll stop peeling where I've placed the masking tape so that whatever I scratch will automatically lie within the border. Now it's done, it's time to mix up some regular acrylic paint. And I'm using white house paint in this case, and I'm adding quite a decent amount of dish soap. This needs to be mixed like you would fold whipped cream or egg white, since it can become extremely lathery if you mix it too aggressively. I tried to experiment with a roller but quickly decided against it and instead used the brush to paint it on super thick since white doesn't have great coverage and it's super important that the oil pastel layer doesn't show through. Black can be applied in a much thinner layer. When it's dry, I'm ready to start carving the acrylic layer up. Since I had to apply it so thickly, needle tools are out of the question, so I basically have to carve each line out with an X-Acto knife and then peel it off. It's a bit tedious, but it's also super satisfying. Again, I'm not going into this with any idea of the finished result, I'm just kind of going with the flow. At some point, the line started taking on a mountain or a hill shape, so I kind of just let it roll in that direction. I'm marking down how many lines I've done, and I'm starting to face the reality that 1,000 lines may not even fit on this thing or even look that good. I decided to just make the decision to stop when it looks right and just leave it to be what it wants to be. To finish, I masked off the inside and went over the border with a roller and white paint. I really like the matte paper look between the border and shiny textured inside part. I also went in with a tiny brush to fix up any mistakes and clean up rough areas. Not sure what else to do to it, so I think I'm just gonna leave it to be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for subscribing and for always leaving me great feedback and comments. If you have any questions about the oil pastel acrylic method, just drop them below, and as always, thanks for watching.